Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Look at Me Look, where you get to look at me look at YouTube videos. My name is Luca, and the title of today's video is The History of the World Every Year by Ollie Bye. Let's get it. And 3, 2, 1, let's go. History of the world. Oh, listen to this music. I already feel in the mood to learn about history today. Here we have a map of the world with what looks like the spread of early humans in this gray. The birthplace of humanity, as far as I can tell, is the cradle of humanity is modern day Ethiopia, a country that I encourage every single one of you to visit. Spent 2 years there. Extremely friendly people, extremely proud people. And if humanity's cradle is in Ethiopia, they have many reasons to be proud. And here we go. I see these are embryonic civilizations. I see. So civilizations sort of emerge from advanced cultures accreting in certain areas and then just scaling up. Look at how you have the Chinese, they've already established some stuff going on there. Of course. It's important to remember that we're continuously updating these things as we keep on discovering even more historical artifacts. It's so hard to find this stuff. Most of it is just pulverized and turned to dust over the eons, and all we find is basically dust, and we don't know what we're looking at. So it is indeed possible that there may have been more civilizations and more stories that we have yet to uncover. It's just we haven't gotten there yet. I see this yellow here. The ancient Egyptians are slowly and steadily emerging. Look at the growth of the population. Oh, give me strength. The Indus Valley River civilizations. The ancient Egyptians. There's a lot of stuff going on here at the same time. So I'm just trying to focus on Mesopotamia is building up quite a bit. The Sumerians, the Canaanites, the Hittites, Kushites, the ancient Egyptians. Everybody is doing something at this point. I stand corrected earlier actually, now that I realize early man did spread out a long time before the video starts here. It just shows advanced culture, sort of, that as we can recollect, permeating throughout Africa and then spreading out throughout Europe and Asia. What is that that's materializing in red? The Neo-Sumerian Empire. Middle Kingdom. Yes, the ancient Egyptians had 3 kingdoms, 3 main kingdoms. The old, the middle, and the new. And Lord, give me strength. At the height of the ancient Egyptians' empire, like their golden age, they were something. They were a sight to behold. It's insane, the amazing things that they've left behind. I think that the ancient Egyptians are really one of the crown jewels of humanity's history. No matter all the crazy stuff they did, I think that Think about how long ago they existed, and yet what wonders they managed to build. It's amazing. I love the music too. I'm getting like an Indiana Jones or the Mummy vibe from this, which I think is awesome. Shang Dynasty. I think that's the first real dynasty in China, I think. Could be wrong. But these are very, very old. Old societies, old empires, old civilizations. Now we go to the New Kingdom of Egypt. And we are in the European Bronze Age. There we go, you see that? The ancient Egyptian empire there. You see that? They didn't play around. They conquer a lot of the Nubians. I don't know if any of you have ever played the game Cleopatra or Pharaoh. It's really fun. Look at all these empires spreading across Eurasia. Proto-Iranians. Kassites been there for a while. Vedic cultures. Something is brewing there in modern day Turkey, I can see. And also in the Americas, the Olmecs. You see? South America too. Okay, so what's going on here? The Assyrians are in the building. Have we reached the stage where the Greeks are there? The Iranians are new. The Scythians, yes, if you've played Rome Total War, you know that they're a pain in the butt with all their cavalry. Okay, now this is after the Roman Empire, I think, no? Because you've got the Celts and the Gauls. Wait, BCE? No, it's not there yet, sorry. I don't think so. Look at that, what's brewing in India. Oh man. It's crazy to think that there is more time that separates us from the pyramids than separates the woolly mammoths from the pyramids. That's crazy to think about it. The ancient Egyptians were the real OGs of civilizations. Think about societies thousands of years later, they still hadn't built anything that rivaled the might in terms of the monuments that the ancient Egyptians built. It's incredible. The Zhou dynasty splintering, I see. Kusan Empire. Okay. I think that in modern day Italy now, there's the precursors to the Romans. The Greeks are there. The Mycenaeans, whatever they were called. Carthage. Okay, so now this is during the time of the Roman Empire is going to start building it, I think. Maybe I'm completely confused. Carthage has spawned. So I actually haven't heard of them before, but look at them grow. Look at them grow. Mighty empire. Was that the equivalent of the Persian Empire? Like in maybe 300? Battle for Mokli? Notice how there's this growth in territory both in India and China, slowly and steadily. Territory is being conquered. It's difficult to keep a track of all these things. The ancient Greeks that's the Macedonian Empire with Alexander. It breaks down and given to his 4 generals. And naturally, there's a Balkanization that ensues afterwards as infighting begins. It breaks down. The Seleucid Empire, they have the beast hoplites from Rome Total War. Ancient Egyptians with Cleopatra. Here we go, the Roman Empire is spreading now, and Han Dynasty is there too. Here come the Romans, and they're gonna eat the entire Mediterranean. The Parthians, yes, they were fearsome as well. Incredible cavalry, armored elephants, and all that. The Han Dynasty is growing. The ancient Egyptians are quasi no more at this point. Look at that, the Roman Empire. Look how fast they're growing. They've invaded my home country of Belgium. Look at this, man. Can you imagine the Roman Empire? I never thought about other empires coexisting with the Romans elsewhere on Earth during the height of the Roman Empire. You have the Han Dynasty. The Roman Emperor, and there they were trying to push in towards Scotland. They built Hadrian's Wall. And then slowly and steadily, the barbarians took advantage of the fact that they devalued their currency, the dinero. They were spread too thin. The Saxons and everyone else started, well, they wanted to settle a score with them. Look at the rest of this. Axum. That's where they built that long operates. Sassanid Empire, yes, I've heard of them. And it began Rome Total War, Jin Dynasty, the Mongols. That's not yet Genghis Khan though. It's a precursor then. As the Roman Empire, okay, Constantinople is there, so I think that soon they're going to break in two. Ruin Kaganates. Man, there's just so much turbulence. Empire ceding ground, gaining ground. Look at how there's consolidation of massive empires into bigger ones. Look at that. In Europe now, there's Eastern and Western Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, the Ghana Empire, then there was the Songhai, and then the Mali Empire. Huge empires. People tend to think that in Africa they're just the ancient Egyptians. No, they are mighty empires there too. Fearsome empires. These Turkish cattle. Oh man, listen to this tune. Rashidun Caliphate, here we go. Checking in. Man, Umayyad Caliphate. Listen to this music, man. Feels like I'm waltzing my way through Babylon or like Damascus, something with 1,000 men, 1,000 bodyguards behind me. Look at all that. The Slavs and the Turks up there in Eurasia. Man, these caliphates, they grew to enormous size, didn't they? Look at how big they are. They're bigger than the Roman Empire. So I think we're approaching close to when the fearsome, what's his name again? Genghis Khan. When he arrives, everybody else gets to their knees. Although the ultimate conqueror. I think second to the British, they built the biggest empire the world has ever seen. They massacred everyone. So much stuff is going on now in the albums too. Kiev and Moose, I see them. I recognize these names from History of the World, I guess. The video I reacted to earlier. This is great. I love the detail, the granularity. It's amazing how you see the territories expand. Contract. Holy Roman Empire. Okay. the Berbers, quite big there. The Seljuks, that's with Saladin. If you've ever seen Kingdom of Heaven, and Balian tries to ward off Saladin's forces in Jerusalem, the Seljuks were part of Saladin. I think at this stage, yeah, the Karakitai, okay, this is the immediate precursor to the Mongol invasion of planet Earth this time. See there, up just above the Jin dynasty, that stuff is going to consolidate, and there we go. Lord, give me strength here. Look at this. Look at this. The music as well. They're conquerors of the world, these guys. Look how far they are extended, man. That's one empire. From the ashes of the Eastern Mongol Empire, China emerged as well. Modern-day China. This is crazy. Oh man, it's got the shivers. This music is. The tune of this song is awesome, man. Here comes the Ming Dynasty. Man, Europe is just like a bloodbath, isn't it? Like, towns built on towns, farms built on an endless sea of corpses. These Europeans have a bloody history. Look at the detail. Here, the Mali Empire. And then the Songhai is above them there, yeah. The Inca Empire. Man. There's so much detail going on. So many things. The Ottomans, they grew enormous. Look at all that unclaimed territory up north, which Russia is going to capitalize on. I found it dramatic. I forgot to point this out, but when the Mongol invasion started happening, the world population started plummeting. They were, oh my god, they were drowning the fields in blood. These guys. They played no games. No goals. You can have almost occupy all of modern day India. France is emerging there. Qing Dynasty. Look at all of that. Okay. And here we go. The invasion of North America. The Europeans are trying to claim it for themselves, but that doesn't last long. And the music, Russian Empire, look at the size of that. The Russian Empire. You could actually argue that the Russian Empire itself was basically the same size as the Mongol Empire, isn't it? Just how big it is. Here we go, modern nation states are slowly beginning to gain their independence from the ashes of all these empires. It's crazy to think that so many of these nation states coexisted with these old empires who were obviously on the other side of the planet. But man, here we go, the British Raj, yes, India, let's kick them out. Here we go, colonization of Africa. Oh, and rather their independence right now. And India should have Pakistan and Bangladesh that separate from it. There we go, modern planet Earth. Amazing. It's amazing. Thank you very much, Ollie. I'm just going to pause the video as I just reflect on some thoughts. Actually, I don't even need to pause. I think I already have something to say. Which is that, let me just actually pause the video for real though. Yeah, so what were your thoughts when you saw all of these empires? Planet Earth was sort of like this turbulent crucible of human civilizations butting heads over all sorts of reasons. They could have been geopolitical, they could have just been about love, like beauty. Entire wars have been waged with thousands of men lying dead on the battlefield because of beauty and love. Think of Helen of Troy, for example. And there's other examples, obviously, which aren't coming off the top of my head right now, but the entire history of planet Earth is just filled with organized conflicts on the scale of thousands and thousands and thousands of men marching on the battlefield towards certain doom, killing each other. It's incredible. This story, there's so many different aspects of history that coexisted at the same time, and I think it's very difficult. I'm basically going to relay a thought that I mentioned in one of my other videos, which is that teaching of history is very difficult to do, where you have individual topics that start and then end, and then like a chapter, and then you turn over to a new chapter in history and go on to another empire. The way it really should be is thousands of books, each of which you turn at different rates, etc. New empires, chapters, overlapping into each other and throughout the world, because each society has its own book, and their books branch out into different books as well. So human civilizations oftentimes, they bifurcate into, or they trifurcate into different vectors, and then those three vectors then brew new civilizations, etc. And it's very difficult to build intuitions as to how history has evolved if you just have one single arrow where events follow on linearly one from the other. It's really more like a branching out and splintering intuition that you should have. And one thing about these empires is it's really difficult to appreciate how big some of these things get when you look at these maps on our screen like this, and you don't really tend to think. If you close your eyes and just imagine how vast some of these territories are, how much land they span, right? Some of these empires were truly enormous, truly enormous. Like the Mongols, they played no games. They had a huge empire. The Romans had a big one too. Alexander the Great. Think about what it takes for a military commander to just basically stare in the horizon and say, right, that enormous Persian Empire that it has conquered thousands of towns, right? I'm just going to mobilize a few Macedonian, hoplites, maybe something like tens of thousands of them, and I'm going to march them across the world, and one by one invade one town after the other, defeat armies that outnumber us 20 to 1. What does it take for a military commander to have this conviction and ambition? It's amazing to think about it. And right now I'm just thinking about like more of Western examples, but you have these examples everywhere throughout the world. Every single country, modern day country, has its own history of incredible military commanders, emperors, etc. Everyone has invaded everyone else. It's just crazy. It's crazy to think about. And one thing that a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people tend to think of like the African continent as being a bit meek. Well, no, it's not. They had incredible empires over there. They had incredible empires, fierce warriors, and they had extremely ambitious, warlords and emperors and just military commanders. There's been a huge amount of conflict and fighting and conquering that went on there as well. I think that the examples I think of the most immediately are the Songhai Empire, the Mali Empire, the Ghana Empire. I think that we are going to probably discover, this is just my own opinion, that once there is a bit more money that is put into once some of these history departments in some of these countries receive a little bit more resources to help them investigate some of these things, we're going to discover incredible secrets, or things that are basically, for now, undiscovered about how Africa played a role throughout the history of the world. In terms of empires, there's some interesting theories that some of the Western African empires actually arrived in the Americas before the Europeans. It's an interesting idea to think about. this in the Americas as well. It's interesting to speculate what could have been going on in the period of time before Christopher Columbus and the rest of what we call the West actually invaded the Americas. What was brewing on over there? Is there anything that we can know? I think that probably the biggest battle zones are probably Europe and the Middle East. I actually would argue that Europe had it worst because, like, we had tons of little kingdoms, and the degree of balkanization that existed in Europe was absolutely insane. It was almost like Game of Thrones. No one could trust each other. Everyone was killing each other. And during the Dark Ages, this became pretty bad. The Asian, like in the Far East as well. Think about how old China is. China is a civilization. A tremendous amount of the modern day Chinese state inherits a lot of the historical baggages, a lot of the historical viewpoints, philosophies, ideas that span thousands of years, all the way back to Confucius and even way further back before that. China has been along for a very long time, as has India, and I think that people, especially who come from China, people who come from India, they should once upon a time, both of these places had an incredible historical grandeur, the culture, might, etc. And I think that they have left in their wake an opportunity for the people in those parts of the world to really do something incredible at this stage. There's an enormous amount of human capital, enormous amount of resources available there, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of the problems that societies face today are going to be solved by the bright, brave, and the wonderfully kind people that come from that part of the world. And even though I'm from Belgium, and we have sort of been, I don't know, actually this is a video in its own right, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I think that witnessing the collective history of planet Earth as a human being makes me feel a certain sense of, wow, we actually, from primordial, primitive, tribes, scattered across the forests, savannas, jungles, etc., we actually managed to do quite a lot. Despite all the bads, we actually did a lot of goods too. And, as someone who grew up around the world in many different countries, I consider, quote unquote, myself, I know, an IRL citizen of the world. I sort of feel enriched by all of these things I discover about other parts of the world. I feel like their stories is part of our story. And it's really, really incredible and insightful to see these videos. So once again, thank you very much for... by the way, one last thing. I think you can all agree that the music was awesome. It was really well selected. It really gave this ambiance that I thought was that was really needed. Some of these videos about history, the act of placing the correct kind of music in there, I think with videos are less if they did not have, they would be so much less, they would be so much worse if they did not have that music. It really makes you feel like you're transported back there, witnessing in third person some of these empires grow. Because some of this music did feel sort of like something I would hear out of, Rome Total War, or some of these games or films that I've watched about ancient civilizations. So, Ollie Bye, I really appreciate you making this video. It's really awesome. And thank you all for watching this video with me. My name is Luca. And here at Look at Me Look, you get to look at me look at YouTube videos. So I'm going to be reacting to a few more of this on the history side as well. And I hope to see you on the next one. You take care.